Hey everybody, you're listening to Sean Wallace play the intro for the Western Music and Arts Podcast, which means you're listening to the Western Music and Arts Podcast. I know, strange concept, but that's what's happening right now. Anyway, we got episode 3 coming up here with Mr. Kaspen Haley. Kaspen is a singer-songwriter out of Casper, Wyoming. He is a interesting guy. He works in the medical field. Right now he's currently working on in the ICU at the hospital here in Casper, but he also has worked Flight for Life or Life Flights, however you want to call it there. So he's a super fast-paced industry, working stuff like that. And then on the weekends, he likes to play blues, Americana type stuff. So if you like your Mumford & Sons or your Red Dirt Band, things of that nature, you're going to love Kaspen Haley. He's going to play a couple songs for us. You'll check that out too. But Kaspen plays all over the place, all over the state, all over the region. You can catch him on Parade Day here in Casper at Frosty's. He's part of that extravaganza. He's also playing up at the 4th of July Fireworks Festival here in Casper, which is a huge deal, so congrats on that, Kaspen. And then he's also going to be playing the CNFR, which is coming up shortly. It's June 9th through the 15th, so you'll have to check him out. So everybody, this is episode 3 with Kaspen Haley. And here we go.
Hey, Kaspen, how's it going?
Good.
How's it been? Busy but good.
Yeah, working nights is hard to nail you down for the podcast, but we finally got you in here.
Right, I know I had to cancel the first time, but no, it's good. I'm glad to be here for sure.
Those real jobs kind of suck, don't they?
Yeah, as much as I enjoy like living in a van down by the river, can't really afford to do the music thing full time.
Yeah.
Yet anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, kids, house payments, all that stuff.
All that adult stuff.
All that adult stuff that gets in the way. Yeah. No, I hear you on that. So how's things been going musically for you? You've been playing a lot, it looks like. Yeah,
it's been picking up quite a bit, actually, within probably even just the last 6 months, which has been awesome.
Yeah, so. Summer's kicking around, so you're going to have a lot of stuff on your plate coming up.
Yeah, even just within the last couple of days, been getting calls to book some stuff. So, yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, 'tis the season. So you're from Casper. In fact, I knew you when we were kids.
Right.
And then I didn't see you for years and years. And then all of a sudden,
you
pop. It's
pop
weird
back out.
How people pop back in your life like that. But yeah, I caught a couple of your shows there at Frontier. It sounded pretty good. I dig the bluesy alternate tuning stuff. That's really cool. It's not something that you see a lot around here.
Right.
It reminds me of like a Delta blues type stuff.
Yeah, it's been fun for sure, especially just trying to get some of that different stuff out. And it seems like over probably even just the last couple of years, there's been a lot more of that around the state that we've been seeing too. Yeah, which is awesome to see. As much as cover bands and tribute bands are,
sure,
it's good to see something different for sure.
Yeah, there's their place for both. But
right. Oh yeah.
What influenced you and stuff like that? How did you get into doing that stuff?
I kind of that same thing because growing up, like junior high, even we're in bands, a lot of cover type stuff, and I love doing covers, but I never wanted to get to the point to where I was a said tribute band.
Sure.
Didn't want to sound like said artist because I'm not said artist. So kind of started with those covers, trying to change them up, make them my own, and then just over the years, just kind of found my own thing. That
is there any artists that are out there that you really listen to that kind of helped influence you?
So when I was younger, I loved like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, stuff like that, and even some of the older like B.B. King, Smokey Waters type stuff like that. But more so recently, I've been getting more into like the red dirt country, like Tyler Childers, or even like Mumford & Sons type stuff.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix there where you get that Delta blues stuff, and it's almost like it merged with like Americana or folk. I love it. I personally, I think it's great.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I tell people that I play is it's more like a modern folk, bluegrass, blues. There's a little bit of like rock type stuff, but
yeah. And I like that merging. There's nothing more American than that to me, which is funny because you mentioned Mumford & Sons. They're kind of the staple of that. They kind of started that movement. At least that's when I noticed it. And I think they're British. I don't even think they're
American. I can't remember if they're actual British or if they're Irish. But
Irish.
Something.
They're not from America. But
right,
they have
the
most American sound that you can think of. I've seen some videos that you had. You make some cigar box guitars. Right?
I do. Yeah. The last one is actually. The front plate is actually a old Wyoming license plate.
Yeah, I saw that. So how long does it take you to build one of those?
The first one I built took a couple days, but now I can do one. I guess it depends all what I'm putting into it, but I can do a fairly decent one in about a day.
Yeah, that's cool. I dig that.
Yeah, because they're as of right now, all of them have been the fretless, like 3-string, which still sounds super cool. But
what do you do for a pickup in that? What do you put in there?
It really just depends. I've had a lot of people that have been starting to request that I make those, so I should probably start looking into a little bit less cheap pickups, so to speak.
Hey man, you put a little distortion on those things, they just sound dirty, and I think it sounds cool.
Right, so I love that one. Actually, I'm thinking about pulling that out for the show that's coming up here at Frontier. So yeah.
Okay, Kaspen has a bunch of these videos. You can check him out on Facebook, Kaspen Haley Music. He's got a YouTube channel as well. You can check him out there. He's got a lot of cool videos with stuff like that. He does a lot of alternate tuning stuff, which is really cool. Like I said, don't see a whole lot of that around here. Like you said, it is starting to pick up.
As a music major, I got super bored with standard tuning super quick. So I tried figuring out different ways to change it up. And
that blues tune, what's your tuning on that?
So it's based off of Dadgad.
It's Dadgad, okay.
So it's a little bit different. So instead of full Dadgad, the G is dropped down to like a F sharp.
Okay.
So it's Dadgad, but with that F sharp in there. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's cool. If you guys watch that video, you'll be wondering why he's not playing actual chords and stuff, and it sounds like he's playing chords. Well, that's why. So a lot of musicians do that, but I I don't think a lot of lay people really catch on to what's going on there. They just know it sounds good.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of the older blues stuff, to make it easier, because you're pretty much playing a bar chord, so to speak, with that slide.
Yeah.
You can do those alternate tunings, and it just changes whether you're doing if your open strum is a G or a D or anything like that. So it makes it pretty cool.
So we talked about having real jobs and stuff. How do you balance that? What's kind of a week in the life of Kaspen when he's got a busy gigging schedule?
That's the nice thing with my quote unquote day job or normal job. So I had worked Life Flight for almost 9 years. Just switched from that back to the hospital. So I work in the ICU again. So even with Life Flight, we work 24-hour shifts. So I would usually work a day, off a day, work a day, and then I'd be off for about 5 days. So kind of the perfect schedule to pick up music stuff on the side or have extended days off to practice music. And even at the hospital, it's usually 3 12-hour shifts a week. So it's pretty doable. It would be a lot more difficult if I had a normal 9 to 5, Monday through Friday job. So I guess I'm super lucky in that aspect.
Do you draw any inspiration from work? I know being working in the medical field, it can be difficult at times. Do you draw any inspiration from what you work?
I do for sure. And even if it's not, I guess, a day-to-day inspiration, it's a great way to kind of decompress. Like I said, Life Flight, ICU, really any sort of healthcare-related job. I think there's some sort of or level of stress that can come with that. So makes it an awesome way to like decompress, and especially with the live shows, being able to be out there and having friends come out and just seeing everybody have a good time. And
how long have you been gigging here locally? I know you're kind of new to the scene, but I know you've been playing for quite a long time. Yeah,
because I started playing when I was super young. Did a little bit of stuff when I was in junior high, and then I said life happens, kids, all that kind of stuff. And then I was super focused on career. But I really started getting into it just over a full year, because I think the first live show-ish, and it wasn't even really my show, I was able to jump in and play a few things, not this year, but last year at Frontier during St. Patrick's Day, with like Hagen and the Green Box and those guys. So like when they would take their breaks, I would get up there and play, and it has slowly progressed from there. So
I know you've taken off. I see you all over the place. You've been playing up in Sheridan and Gillette, and what are some of the places you played around the state, even around the region here? Yeah,
so up in Gillette, the main place I've been playing is Big Lost Meadery. Super, super awesome folks up there. The owner, I actually first met the owner, Sam. He used to be he still might be doing part-time stuff, but long-time firefighter up in Gillette. So when I flew up there, got to know him that way, and then when he opened that place, just kind of stayed connected. So I played there, Sheridan. Going to be playing the No Name Bar. See what else we can do up in that region. Rock Springs. They've got a fairly new local brewery. It's called Square State Brewery. I didn't even really know that they were open at the time, but played there. It's a smaller venue, but super, super great atmosphere. The owners there are super, super friendly.
That's a long trek. You don't see a lot of Casper musicians going down to Rock Springs to play.
Not really. And it helped that I had friends there, because I flew. That's actually where I started flying. Life Flight was out of Rock Springs, so had some pretty close friends that live there, and they're the ones that kind of got me onto that. So
Square State, that's Square State Brewery. They're a newer brewery. And they have a tap room. Is that where you're playing, or like a restaurant?
It's pretty much like their tap room. It's like the main open bar. So they've got it's super tiny, but the place was packed. Super fun atmosphere. They've got like picnic tables and stuff in there.
So what I love about this state is we're small. We only have 500,000 people in the entire state, but each little place you go has a place to play.
Exactly. Well, even Gruner Brothers here in town. Just the fact that they were able to transform the old Petroleum Club, which was an awesome building to begin with, but that place turned out awesome. Their stuff's great, and it's just a really, really cool venue to play.
Yeah, and it's nice to get a little bit of culture like that. You see, when I walked into Gruner Brothers, it's like for years you think, oh, this is something you would see in like a Fort Collins or
exactly. Well, plus the views though. It's super open. Then you've got that big open deck, and actually, it sounds really good in there.
Yeah, so. And then, like places like Yellowstone Garage and Frontier Brewing. And
exactly.
That's just here in town, but it's nice to see those venues popping up here and there, where I can tell you when I moved back here from Hawaii, there's maybe a couple. You had the old Wonder Bar and Frosties that have music every once in a while, and then, of course, the Beacon Club, but it's nice to see some of these smaller intimate venues popping up where you got a guy or a small band up there playing, and you're pretty much sitting in the laps of the people you're playing for, which is kind of a
cool exactly
thing.
That's a great way to like even just start out, or if you've been doing it for a long time. Not that I've been doing like live shows for a long time, but there's a lot of people that still like going to those smaller places too. Because at the end of the summer, I actually got booked for David Street Station. That's going to be awesome. That'll probably be one of the larger things I've played at so far. But
yeah, David Street Station's pretty new here in Casper. It's a pretty cool venue. You should check it out online, David Street Station online. But yeah, no, that's a cool venue. It's a nice open venue. They can have almost like little markets going on the same time you're playing. It's its own little community. It's really a cool
almost every Thursday I think through the summer they're doing that Hilltop concert series. So anybody that's interested, definitely check that out because they've got some awesome bands coming this summer. I think Jelon Crossland's playing. Chauncey Williams and the Younger Brother Band, they're playing this summer. So yeah, I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff going on there. And then I saw not that long ago you opened up for Big Skillet there.
I did, at the Beacon. That was a really good show. And they're actually looking at anybody else that's interested, like Wednesday nights, starting to get more local, smaller stuff in.
The Beacon Club.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So anybody that's interested with that, I can probably give you that contact information for that. But yeah, opening for the Big Skillet was kind of cool.
Yeah, did you get to talk to those guys at all?
Oh yeah, they're super awesome guys. They're a lot shorter than you'd think, though. We got a photo. I was like, wow, is everybody from Missouri this short? They just like laughed at me, but
yeah, I had a buddy. He lives in Columbus, and Rush came to play one time, and he got to be on stage well before the show, and he'd walk up to the microphones. He's not a tall guy, but all the microphones come up to his neck. He goes, man, these guys are, these huger than life rock stars, and they're like
super
5'4",
right. Well, AC/DC.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got to be somewhat short to pull off a schoolboy uniform, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, not have to have it custom made.
So tell me this: when you're cruising around in your truck or whatever, what do you listen to? What does Kaspen Haley like to listen to?
Right now, kind of the big stuff that I've got almost on repeat. Is the combination of like Tyler Childers, The Dead South. I don't know if you've heard of like The Last Revel.
Okay.
Really, really good. Like their main song that I absolutely love is called Nail My Coffin. Mm-hmm. Super good song. Mumford & Sons. And then I'm constantly trying to find stuff kind of like that isn't super well known.
Right.
Another really good like bluegrass band would be like Lindsay Lou and the Flatbellies. I didn't even know who she was until would have been like 2017 at the Telluride Bluegrass Festival. Saw them performing. Amazing performers.
That's a cool festival, that Telluride Festival.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to the 45th, but it was the 44th. But it was a great time. Saw like Nora Jones and randomly Jason Mraz was playing there too. I'm like, that's kind of outside the norm, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's like Bear Trap on steroids.
Exactly. Well, and the cool thing with that though too is you've got these huge big name people out there like Nora Jones coming, but they do a lot of local stuff too. Yeah. So they'll hold whatever competitions throughout the year, contests, and folks that are like finalists or make it through, they'll invite up to play up there too. Sure. So it's good for people trying to get their names out there as well.
Yeah, and like I said, Bear Trap's getting to be, like last year we had Big Head Todd, who's, he's not bluegrass at all. He's more of a bluesy, rocky type feel. But it's good. But then they'll have, what was it, No Bare Feet or the Bare Feet Project. We played Bear Trap when I was with One Child a few years ago, and yeah, so it's cool. I love those festivals that you just get musical whiplash. You might have Nora Jones playing one night, and the next night you might have Kenny Wayne Shepherd playing.
Right, exactly. Well, like even last year, like a bunch of those guys are buddies of mine, but Hagen and the Green Box, seeing them get to open and then listen to Big Head Todd at the same time.
Right, yeah.
It's just super cool to see those big names along with these other guys
that you play with
or get to see play around town or the state. Getting to do stuff like that is awesome.
Yeah, and what I like about it too is there's no you share the same stage. It's not like this huge extravagant, like you said, Hagen came right off stage, and then the next thing you might have Big Head Todd walking up,
right,
platinum selling artists, which I love those festivals like that because it's kind of a great way to showcase, like you said, local talent, but then also the heavy hitters aren't too big to play them either. So.
Right. Well, yeah, because I don't know if they're coming up or if they just played, but Big Head Todd was like at Red Rocks. Yeah. So you just being able to see that up on Casper Mountain. Yeah. Or
they're playing the first weekend in June.
June, okay. Just say it was that one.
I got tickets to that show.
So, and that's the thing too. Like, I'm trying to balance all that stuff and figuring out what festivals and other concerts I'm going to go to this summer.
Have you played it all down on that Front Range down in Colorado?
Not yet. I was supposed to play for the Denver Art Society a month or so ago, but had to cancel unfortunately. But I might be playing down there again, I think in July.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool venues there too, especially that Fort Collins, the Upper Front Range region.
Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, Boulder type areas. Yeah,
all that stuff. It's taken off pretty good, and plus it's Colorado, so every one of those little towns has a brewery with a tap room, and any given day, it's just like Wyoming. It's just a bigger scale.
Exactly.
But it's pretty cool. It's to go down there. There's a place in Windsor that a friend of mine plays at called High Hops, and it's a really cool place to go see live music. Nice open.
Right. Yeah, and of course, any more that I can branch out, I'd love to. So I've definitely been looking into more stuff in Colorado, stuff like that. So
you're looking to book more shows. What kind of covers to originals mix do you have when you play?
Oh, crud.
I know you got to listen to Kaspen's covers because you're not going to hear a tribute like he's talking about. He kind of makes the songs his own, which I really respect because it takes a lot of musical talent to do something like that, to take something somebody else created, kind of make it your own, kind of spice it up, change it a little bit, and still make it entertaining. So
exactly, yeah, and I never go out to like disrespect like the original song or the artist or anything like that, but I'm not said artist, so I'm like... So there's a Beatles song that I do. It sounds kind of like them, but I make it my own because I'm doing the acoustic stuff.
Is that your Come Together cover?
Yeah, Come Together.
Yeah, it's a really good cover.
It's interesting to try to play just acoustic with one person for sure. Yeah. But it's a fun one to play. But anywhere from like that to Mumford & Sons that we're talking about, Tyler Childers. Trying to think such a wide variety of stuff that I usually try to play.
You just posted one. It was
Soft Cell. Tainted, Soft Cell. Acoustic changed up version of Tainted Love by Soft Cell,
which is really cool to hear an 80s new wave song played in your vein of music. It was really interesting. I really enjoyed that. So that's what we did in One Child for a long time, was kind of take covers and rearrange them and make them our own, add some harmonies and things.
Exactly.
Like that.
Exactly.
And so that's fun to do. So what is the mix? Do you have I know it's hard to spend 4 hours playing all original music when somebody books you for 4 hours. So
yeah, usually what I'll try to do is, and I've been getting more and more into like the loop stations and stuff like that. So usually, just to warm up and just do sound checks and stuff like that, I'll do some like loop type stuff. Because I've got to the point now to where I'll do a couple overlays with guitar and percussion, and then
a lot of venues want that, like especially where people are eating and stuff. They don't want you screaming into a mic for 4 hours. They
exactly.
Like to have it's kind of a piano bar, but in your case, a guitar bar where you have a looper. And
exactly. One that makes it nice, like if you want to take a break or something like that, or just go out and mingle, so I can do that loop.
Well, it's hard to sing for 4 hours.
Exactly.
It's really hard to do. I don't know how those guys, they don't play for 4 hours. No, some of them do, the big wigs, day in and day out, every night, singing 4 hours, but usually it's an hour here and an hour there, and by the end of a tour, a singer's voice is shot. So
exactly.
I think people forget that when they look at local musicians, and they're like, well, what do you mean you can't sing for 4 hours and then play a show tomorrow and sing for 3.5 hours or however it goes. So
so like I said, I'll do some loop stuff. I've been doing guitar and then adding in some like banjo and stuff too. I throw in some instrumental, like original instrumental type stuff. And then
which you played one for us, which is really cool.
That blues one. And I just need to sit down and figure out lyrics to it, but it's still a fun tune to play.
Yeah, what's nice about those open tuning things is they're almost their own entity in itself. That you have a melody with your slide, and your open chord playing is kind of adds to it. So to be honest with you, I kind of like when something is like that, just as an instrumental, because it keeps you. It's different than some guy just playing G, C, and D on his guitar over.
Exactly. Well, as you know, it was like as a musician, there's so many songs that use the exact same chord progression, same fingering and all that stuff for positions.
The Bare Naked Lady said it's all been done before.
Right, right.
You'll write a tune, and then somebody says, "Oh, that sounds just like so and so a song," and then you go listen to it.
So funny thing is, there is a Wood Brothers cover that I play almost every show. As soon as I start off with like the opening couple chords, everyone turns to me. They're like, "Oh, is he playing Weezer?" I was like, "No, this isn't Weezer. I promise." And so it's almost gotten to the point to where it turns into a joke that I'll make some comment before I'm like, "No, this is not a Weezer song."
You should throw in a couple of Weezer lyrics just to
see if people are paying attention.
Yeah.
I could.
Nothing against Weezer, but that actually might be kind of cool.
Yeah, well, we could do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look into that for sure.
Yeah. So, where's your favorite place to play here in town?
Trying to think. They're all great. I really liked Gruner Brothers. I've only played once because I played the very first Windy City Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to be back there in August. I want to say like the 21st, whatever Wednesday that is. I think it's the 21st. But I really, really enjoy Frontier. I played there quite a bit. It's super friendly, family friendly, non-smoking, of course, which majority of the bars around Casper is non-smoking,
right.
Which
it's nice, especially when you're singing. Trust me. I know.
Oh yeah. Well, the next day or two after you don't feel like crap, but
right.
Frontier's super, super, super good to, I think, the local artists.
Yeah, it's a smaller venue, but it's really cool in there. It is really intimate. You're right on everybody's level when you play there. Yeah, it is a cool place.
Because you're right there on the ground floor. They do have the upstairs. That way, if you've got kids or anything like that, they can go upstairs, play board games, video games.
And it's such a small venue. You can still the stage, the upstairs, I guess you call it a balcony, is behind the music, but you can still actually hear the music pretty good.
Right. Well, and you can sit right there and you can overlook who's playing and just pretty much the entire rest of the bar also.
Yeah.
Plus, they're bringing other local stuff, not even just like beer wise, but like Grant Street Grocers carries a lot of their stuff there too, which is awesome.
And they'll have food trucks out front, and
exactly,
things like that, which is really cool. I really like what they're doing there. Plus that some of their beers they make are pretty good too. That brewing is an art form in of itself. Should probably have some of those brewers come in because I know nothing about beer other than drinking it, but I like doing that.
Yeah, I had always bounced around trying to do some of that homebrew stuff, but I just don't know.
I just
how it would turn out.
It would ruin it for me. I just like to drink it.
Yeah.
Did you ever play the old Wonder Bar when it was around?
I never got the chance to play the old Wonder Bar. I always wanted to.
Great there. I miss that bar so much.
Well, I said because almost every Wednesday, like in college and even when I got a little bit older, I always try to make it out to see Chad Lore.
Yeah, see Chad. Yeah,
or anybody else. So
Dollar Beer Night. Yeah,
Dollar Beer Night. Who else?
It was I think every town has a little bar like that where it's not necessarily the nicest place, but it seems like everybody's there on a Wednesday that,
or whatever other weeknight.
Yeah, where it's see Chad Lore or whoever. So yeah, I miss playing there. I miss that.
I was gonna say, one of the last ones I had seen there was like John Curlin or John Curlin, the High Plains Drifters.
Yeah. He used to play there a lot too.
Yeah.
And you're playing Frosty's coming up on Parade Day, right?
I am, yeah. Actually got contacted just a little bit ago for that. So
have you played there before?
I have not officially. I did kind of an impromptu thing a while back when Jeff Stanley and Sean Wallace were playing there. So that was a good time. Sorry, Sean, once again, if you end up listening to this, because I think I broke one or two of his guitar strings at that time. But I get it.
It's good for him.
Yeah, right. I was like, hey...
Here's your 3-string guitar, your 4-string guitar.
Right, I made it work though. It's fine.
Yeah, and that's the closest that the Frosty's is now the closest I would say to like the old Wonder Bar, where it's kind of a little bit of a dive, but it's really nice.
Yeah, super friendly staff. The people there are super nice.
It's smaller, yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, Parade Day should be a good time.
And it's always Parade Day at Frosty's here in Casper. It's always packed.
Yeah, so they've got the tent set up and misters, and then they've got music pretty much the entire day. At least every hour or so, they're going to be changing it up with different artists from
And I remember
around the area.
I felt bad because I think they did a parking lot party last year and it rained. We played at Frontier last year.
Yeah, the first part of the day was great. It rained for not super long, but and then it cleared up again. So it wasn't too terribly bad.
When I'm saying it rained, it rained hard for about. It was funny because we were playing at Frontier, which isn't a big place, and I think a lot of places downtown were having things going on, and all of a sudden the rain started in Frontier. It was shoulder to shoulder, and it just smelled like wet people.
Right, wet people / wet dogs.
And then as soon as the sun came back out, they it cleared back to where it was normal capacity again. But I felt bad because I know there's a lot of people were playing outside at the same time. So.
Well, and luckily at Frosty's, like I said, they had those tents and stuff, so it wasn't as bad. But
right, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
Yeah. So what instruments do you play? You said you play a little bit of banjo, obviously.
Yeah, I got a banjo for my birthday this last year, so I haven't even been messing with that for a year, but do some piano, guitar, do the percussion stuff now too. Used to play trumpet.
Yeah. What do you like playing the best?
Guitar, learning new stuff on the banjo has been pretty sweet as well, though.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to incorporate more of that, especially with those loops and stuff. But here at some of my upcoming shows, I might be doing some strictly just banjo and vocals and
nice.
Percussion stuff too.
Yeah, some Jelon Crossland style there.
Right. I don't know, but we'll say style. Yeah, I'm definitely not up to his level.
That dude is a virtuoso on that. That stuff. Yeah, he's
the first time I got to see him play live was at No Woodstock in Tensleep. It was another super small but family friendly, awesome venue.
A cool festival that he does. What got you into playing the banjo? Like the Mumford and Son stuff, or
that? And I think a lot of just the influence of local stuff. One of my good friends, Will Dunlap. Awesome musician. He's actually a really good guitar player too. And he does the slide, like the dobro and stuff like that.
Right.
But just watching him play, and it's almost like he doesn't have to think about it. He's still up there just partying, having a good time.
Which is it's kind of interesting because I grew up in the 90s, and you wouldn't be caught dead playing a banjo.
I was the same way.
If you were anywhere close to a banjo, people were
because junior high, we had a small band for a short period of time that was super punk.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have ever thought that I'd be playing the banjo or anything like that, but kind of it's how times change, or figuring out who you are and not wanting to.
Well, it's crazy. It's just like it's exploded, and it's cool to play again.
Right.
You know,
well, that's the thing too. Is like nowadays, like even if I were to do a punk cover, I might just throw in the banjo just because, just to change it up a little bit.
Nothing would be more punk rock than putting a banjo in punk rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people would probably actually super enjoy that. So I need to think about that too.
Same with the mandolin. I you can kind of see I play a lot of weird instruments.
Right. See, and I'd love to start trying to play the mandolin. I just haven't had a chance yet. Just started with the ukulele because I got one for my daughters, and then a youth guitar too. So
what I find with playing different instruments, as a songwriter, you write different songs. I feel I do. If I pick up my guitar, it's gonna be in a different vein than if I pick up the ukulele or anything like that. So do you find that the same case?
Oh, for sure. Like I said, even just when I started incorporating the banjo, a couple of the songs that I'm writing lyrics for are completely different than any of the stuff I've written.
Right, your
previously.
Melodies change because I don't know, it's just the different tonal aspect of the instrument.
Exactly.
So walk me through how you craft a song. What's your method, if you even have one? It
honestly just kind of depends on the mood, and I almost a lot of times do it backwards from a lot of other people, because I know a lot of people will they'll write the lyrics or whatever, and then kind of craft the music around that.
Yeah.
I'll get a tune or something that I'll start playing. I'll get the instrumental portion down, and then I'll kind of tweak my words to fit into that.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Do you start out with a melody in your head, or do you start out more with the instrumental part
just
of it?
Depends, honestly.
Yeah.
A couple of my the Dadgad ones that I'm still trying to get words for right now, they're super intricate, and I don't know if I would have been able to write the music how it is now if I would have started with lyrics.
Yeah.
Maybe so, but like two of them I've had sitting there for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Which they sound great, but I just can't quite figure out how I want the lyrics and stuff to fit in there. But it almost is to the point where I'm like, well, maybe I should just leave this as an instrumental. Yeah. People seem to like it. And
you get attached to it as it like that too. And then I find that if I write something like that where it's really beautiful musically, and then I try to put words to it, I feel like it maybe ruins it a little bit.
Right.
It gives it.
I can definitely feel that.
It.
Yeah, I can feel that for sure. And that's, I said, going back to like how I set up the shows that I do. That's why I incorporate the looping stuff and then instrumentals and along with the covers and originals. Nothing against anybody else that does their strict singing, playing, all that stuff, but I think changing up a little bit gives the audience a break or
Absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them getting bored. And you've played shows too. Like you'll be playing and then there'll almost be like a mass
You
exodus.
lose the audience, yeah.
So something that...
Well, even if they don't leave, you can just see there's something in them switches where it's just like, I've been listening to this for an hour. I'm going to...
Right, exactly. And that's like I said, I'll switch it up or do a loop and then do the guitar with the banjo, and then people will turn their chairs like, okay, there's something different. Exactly.
And I tell you what, man, that's an art form in and of itself, because a lot of guys don't do that, and I think a lot of them do lose an audience. And so knowing your audience, I think, is huge, and so knowing that you do something like that is going to make you a lot more sought after, because people are gonna, the more people are engaged, the better time they're having, the more money they're spending at the venue. All those things kind of go into play.
Exactly. Well, and it not only helps them, but it helps me, because if I'm doing the same thing for sometimes 4 hours, it burns you out. But I've got such bad ADHD that I'm like, I've got to do something different. So I'll do like a slower blues slide thing, like I played earlier, then an original. Then I'll do a super fast like Mumford & Sons cover, and then I'll flip flop to that loop with banjo, whatever else. It's something I've been doing recently. There's been a couple of shows that almost dual play with Jeff Stanley.
Yeah, right.
To where we either jump in on songs together, or like during one of our set breaks, the other person will get up there, because we all have a different style and sound and everything. Or if it's just him playing and I'm hanging out, I might jump up and play something with my cajon and add something a little bit different to the songs he already does, or whatever. But it's I don't know, it's just all around a good time.
Yeah, and like you said, keeping people engaged is going to make you a better... venues definitely notice that. I think a lot of musicians don't focus on that aspect of playing. I mean, it's one thing to play in your studio and craft songs, but it's a whole other beast when you're on stage. You got to keep people engaged. You got to keep it fun. You got to keep them entertained, because that's what you're there to do. You're there to entertain them. And if they're not entertained, I guarantee you're not going to be getting many calls back to play that venue.
Exactly. Even if you're a phenomenal singer and all that stuff, because you almost get lost in that, I wouldn't say monotony, but like especially these smaller venues, bars, stuff like that. People are there to have a good time or chat and stuff like that. And if you're not changing it up and re-engaging them...
Right. Well, the nice thing about playing something instrumental too is you can change it a little bit every time, whereas a song, it's kind of it's entity of what it is. It's going to be that for the most part all the way through. But when you do a jam, it's something fresh, something new. What's he going to play this time? Especially if someone goes out and sees you, goes and sees Kaspen one night at Gruner Brothers, and then 2 weeks later sees you at Frontier. You might play the same style of jam, but it's not going to be the same. Right.
And that's been something I've been trying to do too, just because over like the last year, I've been booking more and more shows. I don't want people to come out and see the exact same show every single time. Like, oh, he played this exact same set list like this the last time I saw him. They'll still probably like it, but you're going to start losing interest to a certain extent at some point. And
some bands can get away with that. Some of those cover bands, that's what people want to see. They want to go out and see... I want to see him play this song, then this song, then this song, because crafting a set, I think, is an art form in of itself too. But yeah, it's a tough thing to do, and I don't think a lot of musicians master that, and I think you're pretty good at it. So I've
definitely had to make a conscious effort to do that though, because when I first started playing, I just throw stuff down, and then as you're playing, you're like, oh, I should have swapped it out, because like you don't want to play a bunch of fast songs in a row or super slow songs or whatever. You've got to kind of have those waves.
Yeah. You want to bring people up. You want to keep them on the edge of their seat where you're not quite sure, but you don't want to hit them so far out of left field that you lose them that way too.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's tough, and I tell you what, it's always a constant changing of the guard when it comes to that stuff. You always are kind of tweaking something, or I think us as musicians, we're real finicky about our stuff, and I think playing sets is part of that finickiness. Oh, I'm going to put this song here and then put this one here, and it didn't work, so next time I play, I'm going to change it up a little bit. So.
Exactly. Well, just like that Soft Cell song we talked about earlier, like I'm interested to see like how it's going to be I guess, taken once I play that.
Yeah.
Just because it is something different. Kind of a cool song anyway, but I've sped it up a little bit and, like you said, made it my own. I'm actually super excited to play that one.
Yeah.
At one of my next shows.
So you said you played in bands before, and now you're doing the solo thing. Tell me some of the things you like about playing solo as opposed to playing in a band.
I think it goes back to like that creativity. Not saying you can't do that with a full band, but it makes it a lot easier on the fly to create something kind of crazy, I guess.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely easier booking shows and rehearsing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're not at the mercy of.
Well, especially when you get older and everybody's got their own lives and stuff like that. I would love to get, even if it's just a side project, another group of folks together to do some stuff, because that's always fun. I love being able to jam with people, and it brings another aspect to that performance for sure. But there's
something nice about getting a bunch of like-minded people together, and lightning strikes just right to where you have something that's worth sharing with people. I think that's hard to do in and of itself, because you could have great instrumentalist, great singer, and bring them together, and they just don't make a very good band. So,
right.
Yeah.
Will Dunlap, we already talked about him. Yeah. His family does a big pig roast every year. Mm-hmm. So it usually turns into just a big jam session, and it was amazing. Like, my hands hurt so bad that next day because I think we played on and off for 5 to 7 hours probably. Yeah. It's just different people jumping in, and amazing musicians, amazing vocalists, stuff like that, and everyone else just meshed together and was a party in and of itself. So,
So let's talk about, where can people listen to your music? Where, if they want to hear Kaspen Haley, they're listening to the podcast right now, where would they go to listen to you?
As far as like social media or in general, I've got my personal Facebook page that I post stuff on, but I've got the music one, that Kaspen Haley music. I do, or have been starting to post stuff on YouTube, and I'm hoping here soon to start getting some actual recordings down to put onto like Spotify and stuff like that. So
right now, Kaspen Haley music on Facebook is probably a pretty good spot.
Yeah, because there's a link on there that takes you to my YouTube page as well. But
and you probably post most of your YouTube links onto that page anyway. Right?
I do, yeah. And then depending on the show, I need to get better about it. I'll usually try to go live and stuff like that too, just to engage people. And then I'll usually
talking about your live shows.
Exactly. Yeah. Along with, I've been trying to do like weekly cover clips. They're usually shorter clips, like a minute, maybe up to 2 minutes of whatever I'm working on for that week. So far, they've just been covers, but I'm going to probably start doing the same thing with originals too, just to it kind of gets a sense of how people are responding to it.
Yeah. And if it's not working, you just kind of don't. It might be just something for you and not something for the
or maybe you got to tweak it just a touch,
or that too. Yeah.
Right.
So they can also catch where you're going to be playing on your Facebook page.
Yeah, I usually, as soon as I get stuff booked out, I'll put it up there fairly quickly, and then as it gets closer, I'll promote it a little bit more. Yeah. That way, if I don't just post one time that I've got a show a couple months down the road, and then it comes up and people are like, I forgot that he was playing that. So.
Right. And you got some pretty big shows coming up. We talked about Frosty's on Parade Day, which is always a huge thing. But
I'm excited for that one.
You're also playing up at the CNFR, right?
Yeah, it sounds like they'll be booking me for probably at least one thing. It might be a couple different ones throughout that week for the CNFR, and then
which is a pretty big thing. I mean,
I'm excited. Huge. Yeah, if that all pans out, that'll be great. And then 4th of July up at the Event Center also.
Yeah, which is for the fireworks festival. That's a lot of people up there too. So you guys will have to check Kaspen out. He's fun to watch. He's interesting. He's not your typical. Get up there 3 chords in a cloud of dust and kind of sing over it. He does kind of his own thing, which is really cool. So thanks for coming out, Kaspen. Got a couple songs we're going to play for you guys. You heard one at the beginning of the podcast, and we're going to play a little blues jam for you here. So thanks, Kaspen.
Yep, thanks for having me, man.